So here's the bottom of the box. Again, I got it up on the hoist here. The reason I did that was I'm going to start to weld in here. I'm going to weld and I'm going to fill this area and that area and stuff. So, but before I go ahead and start welding this, I wanted to show you this plate that I have in here. The plate was not quite as thick as the gap is wide, but it filled it in good enough that which you could put a nice weld in here. So that's what I did on the other side when I flushed it all out. So here you just have to run your bead, run a bead, grind it, and you'd be all good. So, but this I'm just going to run the bead here, and I'm going to fill the rest. That way I don't have to worry about trying to get into these angles as much, because grinding a weld out of an angle like that, or a 90 degree or anything, is hard to do, and it's not necessary. This is welded to this already on the other side, so it's just a matter of filling the gap is all I have to do. This isn't going to move from this. So that's where I'm at right now, and I'm going to start welding that in, and then I'll show you what I did there. And so I welded. Like I said, I only welded to here, to there. I'm not welding it to this here, and then here's how I ground it off. Right through there, just like that. I didn't weld all the way to the end, again, because it's harder to get that ground down, and it's not that important. So, and then there's the last one I did so far. So I'll finish up all these, and then I got to grind some of this and clean some of this up. And then we'll do some other stuff to it. So this is where I'm at right now. So what I did, I welded down there, did any other welds, welded there, up there, added on to my brackets here. So it looks like it's original, both sides. Then I fiberglassed the seam. This is all fiberglass. And I actually started sanding it, so kind of get an idea of what that's going to look like. There's going to be a lot of hand sanding there. After I do that, then I'll sand this. I already got most all the mill scale off of the frame. So then I'll just sand all this out, and then I'll primer seal it. And it should be almost ready to go right there. And then I'll use a primer filler, and that's where I'll leave it. So that way this will only need to be blocked and maybe a few minor touch-ups, and it should be ready to go. But so that's it. That's what I did so far. And I think it's turning out pretty good. I mean, not bad for underneath a vehicle. I put these little protectors on for my bolts. These are, like I've said before, these are typically going through there. I didn't want that. I made a plate, welded them in. Grade 8 bolts, both sides. So yeah, I just got a lot of sanding to do. It was hard to get some of that, really good around some of this. So it's a little messy looking, but it'll sand out. And there we go. That is the box. So all right, here I am. I'm sanding. I'm sanding all this down. I sanded more around this area. Up, you can see around these welds, up like that, all the way down. You can see all the way along. There is all sanded out. That's all sanded out. Same with around here, all the way up. So now is what I have to do is I gotta flip this. I gotta flip this upside down because I can't work upside down on that conveniently, so I'm gonna flip it. Then after that, we'll see what she looks like. Now this is all fiberglass that I'm sanding now. So fiberglass typically is not your finish filler. It'll be more of a plastic, but anyway, I'm gonna start here, flip it so I can work all down in here, and then we'll go from there. So here's the box bottom of it anyway. I just put some sealer on it. They didn't have a DP90 last time, so I went with the DP50, which is just the light gray. It's the same primer, just a different color. I like the black because, you know, when you put your primer over the top, when you sand down, you know how far you're going if you start hitting the black. But thankfully, this gray is a little darker than the K36 gray, so I'll still be able to see it. But there it is. You can see the seams. Started getting, you know, the welds and everything all rounded up, even in the corners. Let's walk over here. I capped the bottom of all the bedside supports. The reason I did that is because in storage, if a critter gets in, I don't want him making a nest up inside here someplace, and same within the side rails and everything else. So I'd like to try to seal the body up as best I can. But you can see I've got it all sealed. I mean, the corners are rounded and everything. So this is all the way I did it. I do have a little dirt, a little spot right there. No big deal. This is in the primer phase. I still haven't gone inside here yet and fixed all that, but I wanted to get this all in sealer. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. It's still gonna need some work on the bottom, but I got a lot of it done. Still need to put a sheet down here, but just kind of running through and getting the majority of the stuff taken care of. Now I'm going to put the K36 on next, and that'll help fill any imperfections that you might see. But there it is. And here it is in the K36 primer. Like I said, it's a primer filler. You can see how nice that corner looks now. There's a few little spots that need to be sanded, like that little spot there. And that's okay. That's what this is all for. But see how nice that looks down there now? Got to straighten out a little bit of this. See how it's a little wavy? Just a little block sand on that, and that'll be right smooth. I will probably use a little filler in here to even out the weld and the area here. But overall, it looks pretty good. I see there's a little spot right there and there. I think that's where the weld was. It kind of came down to it. But overall, you can see how smooth that looks. Now this is the underneath of the truck, remember. And how all these worked out. Got a little piece of dirt there. Again, not that big of a deal. Although, it's nice to have it as clean as possible because you don't want to have dirt all over it. So you tack rag. I cleaned the surface with a cleaner first. I then tack ragged it. Then I primer sealed it. When the primer sealer is done, you should tack rag again, and then put this primer down. So there it is. That is my bottom of my box for right now, until I start doing what I would consider more body work.